Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today's second video doing USA forecast. For today's second video, so this was on Wednesday, we're having a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days in the United States. And I should get on that for you very shortly. Just say that the first video released today was our nice 7 AM upload, just looking at weather next couple of days in detail. And we're going to have a 10 to 14 day coming up for you, focusing on the UK and Northern Europe, of course, later on today, later on this afternoon. So check that out when it is uploaded. Thank you so much, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Thanks so much to all of you. Right, we're going to start off with the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for New York City. So a wild week coming up. We're going to go from like the freezer into summer in the next week in New York. And it's going to be indicative of many sort of central, northern and eastern parts of America as well. So the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for New York. We're starting off a little bit above average today, but got a plummet in the temperature coming over the next 24 hours or so. Going to go down to minus 10 at 8 and 50 HP. It might involve some heavy snow as well for northeastern parts of America. So some late spring snowfalls. Stays cold into the end of the week. Through the weekend though, we will see temperatures lifting up, and it's associated with this massive precipitation spike just here. So that's an area of low pressure. You'll have a look at it in a moment. That's an area of low pressure going to run up the eastern seaboard of the states, up the eastern side, and will bring lots of heavy rain, maybe as it engages with the cold air, some snow as well. So that's in the early part of next week. And then once that gets out of the way, we see the temperature really lifting up then. We go up to around plus 15 at 850 HPA, which will lift the temperature at least into the 70s Fahrenheit. So, as I say, going to go from winter to summer in the next week across the United States. Quite remarkable. Beyond that, we're going to be seeing the temperature quite close to average then, but generally on the warm side. So there's no sign of another plummet in the temperature coming up once this one is out of the way. So precipitation-wise, we've got an area of precipitation coming up with this drop in the temperature. That might, as I say, deliver some snow. And then, of course, we're going to get this big precipitation spike just here. So that's going to bring masses of rain, potentially some more snow to eastern and northeast parts of America. And then when that's out of the way, we will see the temperature lifting up. And that's going to be associated with more in the way of precipitation as well. So it may turn warmer as we go into the early part of May, but it could also turn wetter as well. It's going to be a wild time in the States, I think. Temperature anomalies from the 21st, 29th of April generally coming out colder than average through most parts of America, especially so through like these central, midwestern and eastern states, but nearly all areas look cold. So at the moment the delayed spring goes on, but as I say, this is going to flip next week. Precipitation anomalies are looking like that. So quite very area to area, quite a bit of dry weather through the central rocky states, also up towards the Midwest and over towards the east, a little rather dry as well there, despite that big precipitation spike that we have just there. It is actually a little bit drier than average up the east coast. Conversely, the northwest part of America and the southeast looking a little bit wetter, so it does vary from area to area. Right, so this is the latest in terms of the GFS for today. So bring down cold air from Canada through the Midwest and into the east as well, behind this area of low pressure. Low pressure has mild air on the eastern side of it, and then it turns colder on the west side of that area of low pressure. There's the upper air temperatures looking relatively warm up the eastern seaboard, up the east coast, but cold air digging in from Canada into the Midwest. We push on into tomorrow, and that cold air has pushed right way through to the east and northeastern part of America. We've got a ridge down across the southeastern corner, and out in the west there's more in way of low pressure, particularly up towards the northwestern part of America. Upper air temperatures show a big northeast-southwest split tomorrow, so cold in the northeast, but relatively warm actually down in those southwestern states. through to Friday and then on into the weekend, we start to draw up milder air from the south, so we begin to lose those very cold upper air temperatures that are plunging southwards at the moment. But we get this area of low pressure running up the eastern seaboard. So that's bringing that massive precipitation spike, of course, that we saw on the GFS on Sunday. So that could bring some really wet weather up the east coast. As that gets into the northeast, it may deliver a little bit of snow as well. And then we go through into the, that's Sunday, we go through into the early part of next week. That low pressure moves up towards Newfoundland. We get this ridge building behind it, pushing in from the western part of America. At the same time, low pressure is developing out to the west. And this starts to pull winds up from the south through the central states. So up comes warmer air. And as we progress through next week, that ridge moves over onto the eastern side of America, drawing up the air from the Gulf of Mexico. And so, wouldn't you know it, after the cold weather we have this week, next week, look at the upper air temperatures, we start to pull up some real warmth from the Gulf of Mexico. Could actually turn quite hot through the Midwest and into some of those eastern states by this time next week. Could well be seeing the temperatures into the mid to upper 70s Fahrenheit quite widely across America, perhaps. That ridge then sort of slipping towards the northeast, and trough of low pressure coming in from the west just here. That might deliver some thunderstorms as that pushes into the warm air. There could be quite a bit of instability and volatility associated with that, and we'll gradually cool things down probably towards the end of next week. At the same time, another area of low pressure looks like it's developing out in these more sort of central states. And so we get through to day 10, which is Saturday the 1st of May, with high pressure up to our north-northeast, low pressure down to the southwest. But the squeeze of the ice bars between the two again still drawing the air up from the south. So looking much warmer as we move into the early part of May generally across many parts of the states, although some slightly colder air just begin to dig into the extreme northeast. But that looks very limited. Most parts of America looking quite warm actually as we get into the early part of May. And then running on into the extended range, just gradually turns more unsettled and a little bit cooler in these central northeastern states. At the same time, the heat really starting to build up down in the southwest as the upper air temperatures showing it's getting really hot through these western and southwestern parts of the United States. At the same time, the northeast looking a little bit cooler. Right, so that's our GFX. So it's going to be a wild time, you know, big swings in the weather coming over the next week from, as I say, being in the freezer in the northeast at the moment to proper summer weather next week. This is how the ECM is looking for tomorrow. The Euro again bringing cold air into the north and into the northeast as well. There's the upper air temperatures for tomorrow showing it does look cold through Midwest and into those eastern and northeastern states. Into Friday and on into the weekend, that low pressure drifts northwards. So we begin to, the trough of, is drifting northwards, that cold trough, push it back up to Canada, and that does start to draw up less cold air from the south. There's that area of low pressure then developing through the east as we go through the weekend. So again, that could bring a soaking to these eastern and midwestern states. And on the northern side of that low, yeah, it might just be cold enough to still produce some snow. So there could be like flooding rains with that low, and there might be snow in the far north and northeast, particularly here early next week. This looks like a little bit of a northeaster actually getting up as that low pressure moves into the Atlantic. So for the far northeastern states, that might deliver some late season significant snow. Then the ridge will start to move in and we'll get rid of that area of low pressure. These are the upper air temperatures for Monday. So again, it does look as though it probably is cold enough for snow on the western and northern side of this low as the air is digging in from Canada. At the same time, looking hot down in the southwestern part of the states. And then through next week, we get that ridge moving over onto the eastern side of America. The trough of low pressure pushed off into the Atlantic, and we start to draw up much warmer air from the south. So very much in line with what the GFS is showing. By the middle of next week, look at the upper air temperatures. We're going into summer-like conditions across many parts of America after the cold plunge. We go from the freezer, to summer. Absolutely remarkable. And then through the second half of next week, back low pressure starts to move in from the Midwest and pushes away the heat and the warmth, probably triggering heavy rain and thunderstorms as it does so. That's how we look as we get to the end of the ECM run, which gets us to day 10, the 1st of May. Trough of low pressure sitting in the northeast, bringing showers along as spells of rain, relatively warm in this southwestern corner, but cooling down through the Midwest and through these eastern parts of America. Let's just have a look at CFS-V2 before we go. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes from the 20th, 26th of April. The coming week has this trough of low pressure into the north and the northeast. So the jets digging southwards, turning colder and more unsettled in the week ahead. But then it's all changed for week 2. Look at this, 27th of April to 3rd of May. A ridge appears in the west, the trough gets pushed away up to the northwest, and between the two, we start to draw up the air from the south. So it becomes much warmer through many parts of America into week 2. Week 3 is the 4th through to 10th of May, with higher pressure up towards Canada. And again, that's probably drawing up something rather warmer from the south of the eastern side of America. Anyway, and then into week 4, which is the 11th to the 17th of May, low pressure then is towards the east, high pressure up towards Canada. So it just looks like turning it a little bit more unsettled, really, across many parts of the state. Temperature anomalies for the week ahead, very cold away from the west coast. So the west coast is warmer, but otherwise, warmer than average, I should say, above average temperature there. But otherwise, it is a cold scene across virtually all areas of America, away from that northwestern side. Significantly cold average, and the cold air is digging all the way down towards the Gulf and into northern parts of Mexico even. Absolutely remarkable. Go through the week 2 though. Look at this, becomes much warmer through the Midwest and into the east. Then the cold air is sort of receding away up towards the northwest. Week 3, the 4th through to the 10th of May, shows colder through the central northern states, warmer in the east and through the southern parts of America. And then week 4 is going to be the 11th to the 17th of May, and that looks generally warmer than average. Colder than average, I should say, through the central, southern, and east states, warmer than average in these northern and northwestern states. So quite a bit of variability with the warmer, colder areas sort of switching around week by week. Precipitation lastly. So week 1 precipitation from 20th to 26th of April is dry on average in most parts of America, but wet average down in the south and the southeast. Go through to week 2 and just looks generally more unsettled through the central midwestern states, but the east and the southeast is drier, as is the western part of America. Week 3, again, looking rather unsettled, particularly through the midwestern and eastern states, always drier in the west and in the northwest. And then week 4, which is the 11th to the 17th of May, just a little bit wetter than average in the south, otherwise drier than average in many of these central, northern, eastern and midwestern states too. So what an interesting week coming up in America. It's all very typical, I suppose, of like the American climate and the continental climate have these big swings and temperature changes at this time of the year, and it's the sort of thing that does generate, as we know, like the tornadoes and that kind of activity and big thunderstorms as well. Yeah, so cold at the moment, very cold air digging in from the north into the Midwest and into the east well. But by next week, summer looks like it's going to get going, and it's going to be the first push of real heat, I think, through many parts of the states through the early to middle part of next week. Probably not lasting more than a couple of days, and then back in something a little bit cooler and probably rather unsettled as we move into the beginning of May. If you enjoy this USA forecast, please smash the like button and we'll do it all over again next Wednesday. Going to be back later on, it's a 10 to 14 day for the UK and for Northern Europe as well, so check that out. For this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.